Hello and welcome to the F Word preliminary final week, and what an exciting week it is, Howard. We've got Howard Leigh here from the Sunday Herald Sun. Obviously the J.J Liston Trophy was on Monday night. Pretty big turn-up, do you think, with Valenti winning the second medal?
Well, we tipsters in the VFL and others were right off the planet, because most years we can't pick the winner. Shane Valenti was a worthy winner, but the rest of the cast, no dispersions on the players, we weren't within a bull's roar.
That's what I mean. It's unbelievable. I was picking 5 or 6, and I think Valenti was only in that mix. But can't believe it really that he was that runaway winner. As I was saying to you off air, Howie, I think he had a great season, but I thought last year he had a way better season.
I think he said that, didn't he, at the count?
That's right, and I sort of compare it to Chris Judd in the AFL, how he had that blowout season a couple of years ago, but then obviously last year he still won the Brownlow, even though he didn't have a great season. So.
Well put. So his name's stamped. Could he win a hat-trick of Liston?
Well, who knows?
All being well, you never know.
If he doesn't get picked up, potentially.
Now, the fair factor has gone from the finals now.
I think
he's been great.
He's been brilliant for the VFL, no doubt about that, and going to be interesting now to see if any AFL clubs will go there. I mean, he seems a little bit untouchable at some stages. He was at the Liston, wasn't he? He had a bit of a quiet night at the Liston, which is good to see for his reputation.
He came a little late, but that's all right. He didn't make a grand entrance.
On the water, was he?
Well, I couldn't really tell, but he kept the low key. He's never out of the news, but he's been good, because that 6,000 people for the last home and away game, and he drew well when they played at Port Melbourne. The
VFL are going to miss him. They obviously had Carmichael Hunt last year, and, and now Favola this year. And the Northern Bullants, geez, they've become fantastic, haven't they, Howard? They're probably the sleeping giants of the competition now in terms of being up there for so long, and people still don't give them credit, maybe even though they've been in the last 2 grand finals, Howie.
They have, and of course changed coaches in between seasons, but they've fought their way through 2 tough finals games. Will their energy be still there for the big game against the Borough?
Well, it's going to be fantastic to see. I think they're a massive chance, only because they've got so many Carlton listed players. You've got to give them some sort of credit, but Port Melbourne, it's going to be very tough to see them lose this year.
Yeah, now, is it TEC Oval a home ground advantage for Port, or do you think most clubs are pretty used to playing there?
I think the Bull Ants are well settled there. They play and it's going to be very interesting with the start, because they're both traditionally slow starters this year, both the Bull Ants and Port.
That's very true.
And it's going to be interesting to see who starts off the better, and because the Bull Ants have come back twice the last couple of weeks, haven't they, Howie, and won brilliantly.
Well, I thought last Sunday's game, which you're at, was the best game I'd seen this year in the final series.
Absolutely, a lot of pressure, a lot of bodies on the line. It was fantastic
and
to see.
Great marking, really good marking, and North Borough were good, but they just boiled them down, didn't they?
So Port Melbourne, how do you think?
Oh, well, the Borough have done, everything's perfect. They haven't got any injuries in the 2 finals games. They've got a great midfield, good defence, we've talked about all season, because they're unbeaten.
They've probably got the perfect team.
I think perfect team.
Perfect team all the way.
Perfect 10.
and obviously the other game on Sunday is the one that I'm looking forward to the most. Werribee Tigers and Williamstown, because traditionally in the last few years we've seen Williamstown get the wobbles this time of year. Do you think it'll come back?
Well, Peter German, I think they've addressed it as best you can. But you say Werribee are looking good. The Tigers feel they've got a real chance, do they?
Well, they do. They've obviously traditional rivals, the 2 clubs, and I can tell you right now that they are setting themselves up for this match. There's no doubt about that. They've got a lot of emotion, obviously coming from with Gleeson's big record-breaking match last week, and now obviously so much to play for. To get into a grand final would be a huge credit for them.
I talked to Jamie McMillan for Liston Trophy. Is he a good young prospect?
He's a great young prospect. He puts his body on the line. He seems to get injured a little bit though, doesn't he?
Okay. How many players do you reckon Willie will field? Western Bulldogs.
Well,
players?
They can go up to 15, can't they? So let's just see, maybe 12. Do you think 12, 13, 15?
Does that have because Werribee haven't really got a lot of North players at their disposal, have they?
They've got about 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Yeah. I suppose that's the thing I asked Paul Settley. Was he worried about that? And he wasn't worried at all, because obviously Casey had the 14 listed last week. And he only had 4, so it didn't matter then. They've got his version is they've got so many players in their team that can play AFL football, Howie, anyway. So that's a good point.
Now, Brett Johnson will be back from injury, do you think?
I think he will. Yeah, he'll be definitely back. Ace Cordy will probably come back for Williamstown as well, which is.
Because we know he's a big gun. Will he play in the forward line or on the back line, do you reckon, Ace?
I think he'll be a flying forward. What do you reckon?
Flying forward?
He could be like Sean Hampson, the big hero in the last quarter.
Now he's going to outreach. He'll play fullback for Williamstown.
For Williamstown?
Markovic's
eligible, I think.
He's got height, doesn't he? So Willie got the wobbles, but maybe they can come through that. Trevor Monty, the president's very confident.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Werribee Tigers. Yeah, I think. Well, I went for Werribee last week. I think they can do it again. Yeah. I think that they got close last time. The last 2 times they've played them, they haven't played their A game brand of football. I think if they bring that game, they'll compete very hard, and it'll be a very close match out.
Just summing it up. So this week in the first preliminary final at the Borough Ground, TIAC Oval. The winner there, Port Melbourne?
Port Melbourne all the way.
Yep, okay.
I think we split with the second one.
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I'll go for the Towners, the Seagulls, and you'll go for Werribee.
Werribee, absolutely.
Okay, and that means the grand final?
It's going to be Port Melbourne, and who knows? So, stay tuned to the F Word next week, because we've got our grand final edition, and it's going to be an absolute beauty. Press conferences live and exclusive with captain and coach, so stay tuned, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Keep punching.
Keep punching, Howie.
Keep punching, Brett. Good stuff.
G'day everyone, and welcome to the F Word preliminary final week on the F Word, and we're here to talk to our J.J Liston Trophy medalist, 2 in a row. Shane Valenti, thanks for having us. Thanks for coming along.
Thanks for having me.
No worries. Obviously, Shane, fantastic to win the Liston. Obviously, how did you feel on the night?
Very surprised actually. I was saying it after I won it that, you know, it could have been any of us at Port, but I thought it'd be very even. So it was a very big surprise, mate.
It's obviously, tell us about the start of your career, because obviously you were found at Sandringham. You sort of came up there, obviously in the ranks, and was it what was the decision to move on from Sandringham and come to Port Melbourne in the first place? Yeah,
obviously I started my VFL career at Sandringham, and I was lucky enough to get rookie by Melbourne at that stage, and then they changed alignment, so they changed from Sandringham to Casey, and obviously I had to go there. So I had a year at Casey, and then was unfortunately delisted by Melbourne, and yeah, my decision to come to Port was purely based on, you know, the fact that they were a standalone club, and that they didn't have any AFL, I suppose, influence coming back week in, week out. So that was a decision in the end.
What makes Port Melbourne a great team, do you think?
Probably that. It's a very team. I suppose the atmosphere around there is very team. It's very cultured. A club with a great history, and you know, Gary Ayres is a sensational coach. So yeah, look, I really enjoy the boys and the club in general.
We're joined today by Ben Carbonaro and Daniel Paproth. Benny, obviously, great win by Shane, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, absolutely, Shane. 2 in a row now. It was a joint. You were a joint winner last year, but this year you're on your own. But 2 in a row, mate, pretty special.
Yeah, like I said before, it was a genuine surprise. To win last year was a surprise as well. You don't play football for these individual awards, but they are nice when they come along. But to be a dual, I suppose, medalist is yeah, something I wouldn't have thought I'd ever do.
Sure, and your teammate Adam Bentic, he polled really well too, and if he wouldn't have been injured in the second half of the year, it could have ended up being 2 Port players sharing the medal.
Oh, you never know. He was on fire really. For him to go down with that ankle injury was devastating. It really hurt him and the team, obviously, but yeah, he was polling as well as anyone. So yeah, that'd have been nice, I suppose, to share with Adam.
Dan?
Yeah, obviously, congratulations, mate. First of all. Port Melbourne, this season, obviously you've just gone from one strength to another. You're still undefeated, and obviously it hasn't created a lot of pressure around the club. You're still playing just as well as ever.
Yeah, I think so, mate. Look, we know that week in, week out, if we get the processes right, that you know, the result should take care of itself. And you know, people say outside the club, the fact that you are undefeated, does that, you know, put pressure on you internally? But we don't think about the weeks that have gone. We think about the weeks that are ahead. So. Yeah, look, this week against the Bullants is the biggest challenges we've had this year, so if we can get over the line, it'd be fantastic for the club.
And they had a good win last week, so how do you go into that game?
Yeah, we'll have a bit of a look at what they did last week, a bit of vision that's been cut up during the week, so we'll have a look at what they did. And look, if we don't try and focus too much on the opposition, we'll try and focus on what we do, and you know, if we get that right, we can win. So yeah, we'll look to try and knock them over on the weekend.
And obviously, your 100% focus is Port Melbourne, obviously, but there's news this morning that James McDonald's just signed with Greater Western Sydney. Is there any thought about you getting back to AFL, or?
Look, I'm not too sure, mate. I haven't heard anything as of yet. Look, I haven't had any calls or anything like that, but you know, I played with James at Melbourne, and you know, if he was to put in a good word, it wouldn't be a bad thing. But who knows what they're after at the moment.
Yep. Obviously, 2 listings in a row. Shane, you obviously wouldn't have expected that in the current climate of the competition.
No, not at all. Like I said, with all the talented players coming back to play, yeah, AFL listed, and the quality that they've got at the VFL at the moment, it's yeah, one big surprise. But you know what? Just keeps going on.
Tell us about the night, because obviously Sammy Dwyer was up there, Chris Kane was up there as favourites, but didn't poll that well. Did they give you a bit at the end of the night?
Yeah, they did. I'd said to Sam at the end of the night, I think that they were getting the number 2 and the number 20 mixed up, so that might have been the case for the streak. But like, who knows? The umpires obviously see it a different way to some other people, and you know, you're never going to get everyone agreeing on who's going to win. But yeah, like I said, it was good to get over the line.
Matty Bate finished second. I think you played with him at Melbourne too, which is unbelievable that you both finished 1 and 2. Did you think he had a pretty good season?
Yeah, I did. I always try to have a look and see how Casey were doing, and the boys I used to play with. So, and I knew he'd had a really good year, and he probably should have had more opportunity at AFL level, but he's definitely above the VFL, so I knew he was going to have a good year, and it's good to see him get second.
Shane, congratulations on winning the Liston again. Fantastic and great to have you on the F-Word.
Thanks, mate.